In the last session, we have discussed about, or we had discussed about the introduction of Spring framework, and even we have discussed about the history of Spring framework. Now today we are going to discuss about like why Spring is so famous. So what is the reason behind that? Why Spring is so famous? So there are in number of reasons behind that, uh, behind the popularity of Spring framework. And out of that, the first point I'm going to say, or the first thing I can say, the loose coupling concept is the because of the loose coupling, I can say Spring is very, very famous. So there are a number of reasons behind that, uh, behind the popularity of Spring framework. So uh, the first point I can say it is the loose coupling. So what is the loose coupling? So to understand the loose coupling in a Spring framework, or how the Spring will provide the loose coupling, first we need to understand what is the tight coupling and what is the loose coupling in core Java, and we have to understand how the core Java will provide the loose coupling concept. So first we'll see some example based on the core Java for the tight coupling and loose coupling, and then we'll see the similar kind of example in case of Spring, how Spring will provide the loose coupling. So let's start with the core Java. So first of all here, you can see like I am mentioned here coupling. So I mentioned here loose coupling. So first of all, I want to know what is the meaning of coupling. What is coupling here? So if I'm talking about coupling, so coupling is nothing but a situation where an object can be used by another object. So if you have a situation where one object can be used by another object, then it is known as coupling. Okay. Or simple, or make it very simple, I can say that if one object dependent on the another object, then I can say that one object is completely dependent on the another object. And if you have this kind of situation, that is nothing but the coupling. So I'm saying if one object is dependent on another object to complete their assigned task, if you have this kind of a situation, then we can say that this is nothing but the coupling. Okay. So I'm going to write the definition here. Coupling is nothing but a situation where an object can be used by another object, or it simple means a object can be dependent on another object to complete its assigned task. If you have this situation, that is nothing but the coupling. Now in the Java, we can divide the coupling into the two parts. So I can say that coupling in Java further divide into the two part. One part I can say, the first one I can say tight coupling, and the second I can say loose coupling. So first we'll try to understand what is the tight coupling, and then we'll come to the loose coupling. Loose coupling. Okay. So let's start with the tight coupling. So I will give you the two example of the tight coupling, and we'll try to explain you how it is the tightly coupled. So at least from the we understand what is the coupling. Somehow one object will be dependent on another object. If I have the situation, then I'm saying that coupling. But what is the meaning of tight coupling? So let me give you I will give you two examples. So we'll give one, like we'll see one by one, two examples, and then we'll try to understand what's the tight coupling. So the tight coupling definition, I can simply say that when two classes are highly dependent to each other, when two classes are highly dependent to each other, then it is called the tight coupling. Okay, if two classes are tightly coupled or highly coupled with each others, then this situation is known as tight couple. Now I will give you some example, and we'll try to explain you how it can be the tight couple and how we can achieve the loose couple. So let me create some classes here, and we'll show you how this class are the tightly coupled. So suppose I'm going to create very basic a class, and I will create very basic method. So just try to understand the concept, don't go with the logic. Okay. So because I'm going to create the very basic classes and very basic method, so just focus on the concept, how it is the tight couple. Don't focus on what logic or what statement I'm writing here. So suppose I have one class, okay, and inside this class, suppose I'm going to create one method. The method is nothing but suppose calculate. Okay, this method we have, and inside this method, suppose we have some logic. we have some logic. So I'm just going to write one line of statement here, system.out.println, system.out.println. And then what I will do, I will write one message here, calculate method, calculate method, calculate method for class A. Okay, for class A. And suppose here somehow, suppose to calculate this, I have to pass two parameter here. Suppose I'm going to pass two parameter, int A comma int B. Okay, so I'm just want to calculate something, and then I'm going to return this value. So I can say that I can just write here, suppose int C is equal to A plus B. This is a very basic example I'm writing here. And then I will write one more line of the statement, system.out.println, and I will print the price of this. I will print the calculated price. So here I will write that final calculation is final calculation is, I can say that you can remove this, okay, and then you can just print this value C. Okay, that's it. Now this is the one class. Now similar to that, I'm going to create some more class. Okay, so I'm going to create one more class. The class in name is nothing but class B. Okay, and then inside this class, suppose I have some more method. So this class, somehow I'm going to create one method, calculate my calculation. Okay, and to do this, to provide the implementation of this, okay, so my calculation is one of the method, and here simple what I'm going to do, I'm going to print one statement here, system dot. So let me copy this statement from here. So let me copy this, and we'll just change the message here. So my calculation method from the class B, my calculation method of class B, Some logic I'm writing. Okay, you can change this logic with your logic. There is no problem. And then what I'm trying to do, somehow I want to call this method for my calculation. Okay, I want to call this method. So if I want to call this method, and I will pass two value. So if I want to call this method, somehow I will pass two value 10, 20. To call this method, somehow I need the object of this class A. Until or unless I don't have the class object for this class A, I cannot call this method. So how I can call this method? So first I have to create the object for class A. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the object for a class M. And how I can create the object? So somehow to create the object, I will use the new keyword. So I'm saying A1 is equal to new A. Now we have the object. Now what I can do, I can call this method on the reference of this A class. So A1 dot calculate. That's it. Now what I can do here, okay, suppose again what I have. So okay, now I will get one more class. Okay, the class name is class C. Okay, and this class again here also I want to calculate the price. So I'm saying here I have the method calculate price, calculate price. So even if I want to calculate the price, somehow I want to call the method that is a calculate. Okay, that is a calculate method I want to call. And so okay, there is no problem. If I want to calculate the price, I have to call the calculate method. I'm going to call that. But before that, just I'm trying to print one more message here. Okay, so we can say this is the calculate price method of class C. Calculate price method of class C. And again, to call the calculate method, to calculate the method, I have to call the calculate method. So I'm saying calculate. And if I want to do this, what I need, again, I need the object for class A. So here I'm passing the value as a 40 and 50. 40 and 50. And how I can call this method? So to calculate this method, again, I have to create the object for a class A. And how I can create the object for class A? So somehow I have to create the class A using the new keyword only. So I am writing A2 is equal to new A. Now we can call the A2 dot calculate method. So here you can see that we have three class A, class B, and class C. And this class B and class C somehow dependent on the class A. To call this method, to calculate method, because of the calculate method, somehow this class B is tightly coupled with the class A. Why I am saying this is the tightly coupled with the class A, because somehow I am trying to create the object for the class A. I'm trying to create the object for class A using the new keyword. And if you are trying to create the object of any other class inside the class B, then I can say that this class B is tightly coupled with class A. This class B is tightly coupled with the class A. Again, you can see this class C, again, it is the tightly coupled with class A. Why I am saying this is tightly coupled with class A, class B, or class C? Why this is tightly coupled with class A? Because if there will be any changes happen inside this class A, suppose there will be no more existence of the class A, or somehow this class A will get acquired by some other name, or suppose it will be renamed with other name, then class B and class C both will get impacted. Class B and class C both will get impacted. Let me show you this example on the Eclipse so it will be more clear how it will get impacted. So suppose I'm going to my Eclipse, and here I'm going to get one one project. So I'm going to get the Java project. You can see Java project, and then I can give the name. The name I'm going to give the tight couple example, right? Coupling example. So this is the tight coupling example. This is a very basic. This is just a Java project I'm creating it. I'm going to create some package as well. So com dot tight couple example, tight couple example. Okay. Now what you can do, whatever the class I have, you can just create the same class and just try to copy paste the value there. So suppose I'm going to create one class, the name of the class A, class B, and class C. So okay, let's see, create the class A, class B, and class C. So we'll create class A, then I will create the class B, and then I will create the class C, class B, and then the third class C. And then I will copy paste the value from the notepad to here. So we have three class. Now there is a chance we can have some more class. Okay, class D can be also possible, class E can be also possible, or n number of class can be possible inside this package. And suppose all the class are going to depend on the somehow class A. So I'm going to just write this logic here. Okay, I'm just going to write this logic. So here, okay, so this is from the class A. We have to write inside the class A first. So come to the class A and just copy paste this. So here we have to provide the signature for this. I'm going to do that public void calculate. Okay. So just copy this example and replace in your notepad. This is a correct. These are compile free code. I'm going to paste here. Now same thing I can do for the class B. Okay, same thing I can do for the class B. So now somehow I'm going to copy this exam code from here and I can paste here. So just paste here. Again, we have to provide the signature for this. I'm going to provide that public void and then my calculation. There's no compilation error. Now I will do the same thing for the class C. Okay. But before that, just let me copy this signature from here and I will paste in the notepad as well. Now inside the class C, come to the class C and then you can copy this and paste in the Eclipse. So we have the class C and then I'm easily able to, we have to provide the signature for this as well. So public void calculate price. So this is the example I have. Okay, you can see this example I have. Okay, and here in every class, class A, class B, and class C we have, and class B and class C is somehow tightly coupled with class A. Now what I will do, I will create one main method, and from the main method, I will try to call this calculate price method or some my calculation method. I will try to call. So what I'm going to do, finally, I'm going to create one more class, that is the main class here. So Suppose this is the class and I'm saying this is the main class. Okay. So I can say main, or better I can rename this with lab1. So go to the refactor option, and from here you can rename this. Rename, instead of main, I can say lab1. Now here we have the main method. Okay, we have the main method. Inside the main method, suppose I want to call this method. I want to call this method my calculation. I can simply call, create the object for b, and then create the object for b1 is equal to new b. Okay, new b, and then what you can do? You can just call the b1 dot what method name, my calculation. Once you call this, let's see, let's run this example and let's see what is out. So you can see that once I'm calling this method, what it is printing here, somehow they are trying to print this statement, and then somehow I'm trying to call this method as well. So it is coming to this method inside the class A, and they are printing this message. Then they are trying to calculate the value, and then they are saying the final calculation is this. So I'm getting the final value here. So somehow to calculate this price, or my calculation, or calculate price, suppose I'm going to change this with calculate price. So to calculate the price, somehow I'm calling the calculate method of the class A, calculate price. Okay. So to call this calculate, to to calculate to print the value or to execute the logic of the calculate price, somehow I'm going to call the method as a calculate, which is available inside the class A, which is available inside the class A. So somehow my class B, I'm saying this is the tightly coupled with class A, because I'm calling this method. So calling the method is fine, but to call this method, I need the object for class A, and somehow I'm creating the object for class A using the new keyword. Same rule applicable for the class C as well. Here also, if I want to call this method, somehow this calculate my calculation or calculate price 2, suppose this is the method I have. Okay, calculate price 2, I have this method, and somehow they are trying to print this calculate price 2 of class C. Somehow to execute the logic of this calculate price 2, I have to call the calculate method of class A, and to call this calculate method, I have to create the object for class A. Until or unless I have not created the object for class A, I cannot able to call this method. I cannot able to call this method. So somehow this class B and class C is totally or tightly coupled with the class A. Why I'm saying this? Suppose tomorrow if this class is going to change, if this class will be renamed with other name, suppose someone has acquired this name, or someone has acquired this company. Once anyone will acquire this company, or somehow this is no longer exist in our package, then the class B, class C, or any other class where this who are dependent on the class A, everyone will get impacted. How it can be impacted? So suppose I'm going to change this class, or I'm going to rename this class with super A. So now there's no more class A, it is the super A class. I'm going to change the name of this class. So I'm saying, yeah, I want to rename this with super A. Once this class will be renamed with super A, then you can see I'm going to get the error in class B, and even I'm going to get the error in class C as well. Suppose I have around 100 class, and all those 100 class are dependent on the class A. Now, since there is no more existence of the class A, it has been acquired by some other company, or it has been renamed with super A. Now all the 100 class which was dependent on the class A, every class will get impacted. So to resolve this compilation issue, somehow we have to go in each and every class, and we have to change this A with super A. Once I will change this A with super A, then I will not get any error. Somehow if I'll make this changes, then I will not get the error. But in the real time project, there will be 100 of classes will be there. And sometimes there is chance 100 of class can be depend on the one single class. And if I have this kind of the situation where all the 100 class are tightly coupled with one of the class, and if there will be any change in the dependency class, so every dependent class will get impacted. So here B and C is the dependent class, and A is the dependency class. So if there will be any change inside this class A, then all the dependent class will get impacted. And because of that reason, I'm saying this is the tightly coupled. Even if there will be any changes here, until or unless, suppose I want to test this class B, until or unless I will not test this calculate method, I cannot say my testing unit testing is completed. So suppose I want to test this calculate price method only, but to test this calculate price method, somehow I have to test the calculate method as well. Until unless I will not test this calculate method, we will not be sure we are going to get the exact or the exact the final value which I will get, that is the correct value or not. So somehow to test this method, I have to test this calculate method as well. The same concept will be applicable on the class C as well. And why this all the problem is happening? Because this all the class are tightly coupled with class A. And why this is tightly coupled? Because I'm getting the object for, I'm trying to get the object of class A inside the class B and inside the class C. So this is the example of the tightly coupled. This is the example of this is the tightly coupled example. Let me show you another example of the tightly coupled. That is again simple example, but I'm going to get some more class and then we'll see how we can achieve the loose coupling. So it's the second example which I am going to give you, that will somehow based on the some kind of the real based example. So suppose we have, I'm going to get the class here itself. Okay. So just change this class or rename this class with again A class, so that this will be the compilation free. If anyone have any question, you can shoot your question. I will answer that question. So I'm going to get the another package here. This was the one package. I'm going to get the another package. Okay, or what I can do in the same package, I will get the different class. So anything is fine. Either you can create the one more project, or you can create the another package, and inside the package you can create the class. I'm going to create the another project itself. So tight coupling example number 2, example 2, and the package name we can give that package as well. So okay, let's finish. And now here I will create the package and then we'll create some class. So this is the package I'm going to create, com dot example dot tight coupling. Okay, tight coupling example. Now here what I'm going to do, so suppose I'm going to, everyone is using some system. Okay, example number 2. So what I'm saying here, let's see on the notepad and then we'll copy paste in the Eclipse. So example number 2, suppose I'm using one laptop, you are using one laptop, and everyone is using some laptop or desktop or some system we are using. So suppose I'm going to talk about the Windows system. So suppose I have the system of the company known as Dell. So I'm getting one class Dell. Okay. Same as someone might be, they are using the computer or laptop of the company Lenovo. Okay. And somehow some other person is there, some other student is there who is trying to create the object. So there is some other student who is using the laptop of the company Acer. Okay. So these are the 3 students who are using the laptop of different company. Now I want to know, I have one method. The method name is processor. So write the method public void and processor, my processor. So I'm writing one method with name my processor. Now suppose I want to know what is the processor in my system. I want to know what is the processor in my system. So anyone can tell me who is responsible to provide the processor in your for every company, either Dell, Lenovo, and Acer, who is responsible to provide the processor. So if you see your laptop, there will be logo of Intel. So Intel is the company who is responsible to provide the processor for all this company. Okay, so I mean to say we have one company, we have one more class. Okay, we have one more class. Suppose class Intel M or some name is there. Intel M is the company who is responsible to provide the processor for each and every company. So I'm saying Intel M, and I'm saying the method name here public void provide processor, provide processor. So this is a company who is responsible to provide the processor. So this company can provide the processor, like I can say this is a system.out.println again. So I can copy from here system.out.println, no need to type again. So what I can do, I will just copy the method from here and will change the message. So I want to know what is the processor in my system. If I want to know the processor in my system, I know this is the Intel company, Intel M company, who is responsible to provide the processor for my system. And I'm writing here one simple statement. The statement is nothing but provide processor method is getting called. Provide processor method is getting called from the Intel M class. Method is getting called. Okay, suppose simple. I am writing simple statement here. You can write like one more line of a statement. Okay, we can write one more line of a statement. Suppose I'm saying this is nothing but I'm saying core i5 or core i7. So suppose I'm saying my processor is my processor is my processor is core i5 or something. Okay. So Intel is the company who is responsible to provide the processor. Now, to know my processor, somehow I'm going to call the provide processor method. So if I want to call this provide processor method, okay, somehow I have to create the object for this Intel M, because this Intel M is a company who is responsible to provide the processors, and somehow I want to know what is my processor. I and to know my processor, I'm calling the method that is a provide processor. So to call this method, somehow I have to create the object for this Intel M. So how I can create the object for this one? I can say Intel M I1 is equal to new Intel M, and then I will create the object using the new keyword. So now somehow I'm creating the object. Now after creating the object, what I will do, I will write a1 dot provide processor, and I will get to know what is my processor. So simple one more line of a statement I'm going to write here. I'm going to write one more line of the statement here. And I can say that my processor of Dell method is getting called. Getting called from Dell class, Dell class. Okay. This method is getting called. Now, same as we have another class, that is the Lenovo. Even for the Lenovo, the student want to know what is his processor. Okay, so I know my processor. Okay, suppose some method name know my processor. Okay, this also want to know what is the processor. So if they want to know my processor, again somehow they are going to call the method that is provided by the Intel, that is the provide processor. Because for every company, only Intel M is the responsible to provide the processor. And again, if I want to call this method, somehow I have to create the object for the Intel M. So again, I'm going to create the object for the Intel M first. And here I can say I2 and then I2 dot void processor or provide processor. Same logic will be applicable, or the similar kind of the concept will be applicable here as well. So I'm saying this is a my processor 3, and here also somehow I want to know what is the processor for my system. I'm saying, okay, if you want to know the processor, only the Intel company is there, Intel M company is there, who provide the processor, please call that. So here what I'm going to do, again I have to create the object for the Acer. Sorry, again I have to create the method for the again I have to create the object for the Intel M, and then I can able to call the provide processor method, and then I will get to know what is the processor for my system. Now you can see here somehow this Dell, Lenovo, Acer, all are the company for the processor somehow depend on the Intel M company. Okay, there's a company in the real time, it is the Intel company. Just to write this example, I am using Intel M. So somehow this Dell, Lenovo, and all the company are tightly coupled with the Intel company, Intel M company, to get the processor. So all these classes, all this class Dell, Lenovo, and Acer are somehow tightly coupled with the Intel M company. Now suppose tomorrow, if this company will be get shut down, Intel M company will be shut down, and suppose this Dell company want to launch new system, or want to release or want to deliver 10,000 of the laptop to any of the company or any of the vendor. Now Intel M is no more in the existence. So from here they will get the processor, because the Dell is not responsible to create the processor or manufacture the processor. Lenovo is not responsible to manufacture the processor. Acer is not responsible to manufacture the processor. Somehow this Dell, Lenovo, Acer, all this company for the processor somehow depend on the Intel M. And now there is no more existence of the Intel M. Since this Intel M is no more in the existence, somehow this Dell, Lenovo, and Acer, their business will get impact because they will not get the processor now. And since they will not get the processor, they cannot in a position to deliver new system in the market or to release new system in the market. So if they, since they are tightly coupled, if there will be anything happen with the company Intel M, all this company, all this class will get impacted. So suppose if even if it is not getting shut down, suppose this is getting acquired by some other company. So as of now, if you see in your system, the logo of the Intel is there. Suppose tomorrow this is getting changed with Super Intel or some other company, suppose Microsoft X or Google Y, someone is acquired this company and now they are saying the company name is M Intel or Microsoft Microsoft Intel X. The company name has been changed now. So now, since there is no more Intel company, now it has been renamed. Now every company will try to contact with this Microsoft Intel X, and they will ask, "Hey, can you please provide me the processor? I have to release new system in the market. I have to deliver this much system to some of my client. Can you please provide the processor?" And to get the processor, somehow they have to change the class name in this Dell. I mean to say this class will again replace with this class name here, and same process will be happen with a Lenovo class, and same thing will be happen with the Acer class. Or in the real time example, I can say the same thing if the Intel will acquire by some other company or Intel M is going to acquire by some other company. Now the business of the Dell, the business of the Lenovo, and the business of Acer and all other company will get impacted because somehow this all the company for the processor is totally dependent on the Intel M. Now there is no more Intel M. Somehow their business will get impact. So this is the example of the tight coupling. And why this is the tight coupling? Because always I am trying to create the object using the new keyword. And if there will be any changes happening here, if there will be any change in the name, if it is there or it's getting renamed or it be acquired by some other company, somehow the class Dell, class Lenovo, and class Acer all are getting impacted. So in the next class, we'll see how we can achieve the loose coupling using the core Java, and then we'll see how we can achieve the loose coupling in the Spring or Spring Boot.